Alright my friends, my name is Jack Billings and I'm the CEO and founder of Shed Knives, and today I'm going to go over a very detailed concept. I figured this is good for me to get out, and this is really good for you guys to think about and also just kind of share if you want to share, and that is, where do you want to be? I'm going to go into where I want to be for Shed Knives, why I am doing that, where there are a lot of people who believe you should keep that to yourself, you should write it down, you shouldn't say things you haven't done yet, where I believe that the more you put out into the world, the more you will start to see that same thing. For example, if you look for a red car or you're thinking about red cars, you're going to start seeing a lot of red cars. So I figured the more I actually get on that line of accomplishing what I'm talking about. But before we get into that, as always, I have a question for you guys. That is, what are you carrying? I have two knives today. Number one is my Benchmade Osborne. This is a cool knife. This knife, now I gotta say my focus is a little weird right now, but basically this has two engravings on it. It says class of 2022 and Jack Billings on the other side. So this was a gift from the knife store I used to work at, and this was a graduation gift for graduating high school in 2022. So very nice, black G10. Does it say the steel? This is S30V steel and pretty cool. So I like this knife. I use it quite a bit for kydex and I'm a fan. I like the big clip on here. This is a nice thick clip, where knives like the Bug Out, for example, those have very small clips. So I like the thicker clips. And then number two, this one I'm actually carrying in my pocket today. I have some sweatpants on right now as I'm coming back from the gym. I literally just got to the shop and figured, let me just record and get the video in. But this is my 2023 Shed Knives Skewer in 154 cm steel, Coyote Tan G10 hollow grind. It is 0.2207 inches thick. Or no. It's 0.207 to 0.227 inches. There we go. I got my range of thicknesses correct. Because if you didn't know, Shed Knives uses raw steel. I don't do any surface finishing other than my stone wash, but that doesn't take really any material off. I do a stone wash, but no grinding at all, where a lot of companies do the surface grind, so that's why it's a very odd range there, but very nice. I like this kydex sheath. I got the idea to just carry it in my sweatpants today because there is a guy who bought a skewer in New Zealand and he carries his skewer in his pocket. I don't know how often he puts it on his belt. I haven't asked yet, but I know every time he talks about his skewer, he's always just carrying it in his pocket. So today I have my pocket skewer. That's what we'll call it. And for those of you who don't know, last thing, but then we'll get into the video, skewer is Norwegian for shed. So it's written skur, S-K-U-R, but it's pronounced skewer, like your knife, skewer knife. That's the definition I give. So pretty cool knife. I like the Coyote Tan. I need to get a Tuatara for myself. Just so many of you guys like them and buy them that I have to get them out to you first before I can adopt new blades into my collection. So if you want to go check those knives out, specifically the Shed Knives models, you can go to shedknives.com and you can help grow Shed Knives even further and support the mission from there. So go check that out and let's get into the video. Where do you want to be? That is a question that many of you were probably asked when you were in school. My graduation gift made me think of that, where people ask you, oh, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? That's a question you are asked many, many times in your life. And then there's a point where people kind of stop asking. And I'm not to that point yet, probably because I'm 19 and people assume I'm in college. People assume a lot of things when you're not even 20 years old yet. And I think that's not entirely a bad thing because it gets you thinking. And for me, I've really been thinking on the why of where you want to be. So let's figure out the where you want to be first. What I like to do is backtrack. I like to say, you know, if money didn't exist, if just everything, all of today's standards, you could say, if no rules, no regulations, if nothing existed, what would I want to do? Where would I want to be? How would I live my day-to-day life? What would that look like? And then I write that down, and then I see, okay, what is realistic? Not realistic in other people's perspectives. For example, I say I want to be the largest knife company on the planet. Many of you, or just many people in general, specifically in the knife industry, would say, no, that's not possible. No one's toppling Victorinox, or no one's surpassing Case. No one's doing that. Well, to me, I believe that is realistic, but you need to have work behind it. You need to have effort behind those things. But before we get into the actual effort part, it's good to know where you are actually going. So take the time, if you have not already, take the time to figure out, where do you want to be? Ideally, where in the world? What would your day look like? If you could pick your average day in what you want to do for the rest of your life, what would that look like? Would you be at the beach? Would you be journaling? Would you be writing books? Would you be working at a construction site? Would you be selling multi-million-dollar homes? What would you be doing? I'm only giving you guys advice and just giving general thoughts that I have done, because I believe that people should only talk out of experience, or at least what they are on the track to be doing. So that's my perspective, and that's what we're going to get into. So first step is figure out where you want to be. Write that down, take some time to do it. Where do you want to be? Then the second thing that I like to do once I figure out where I want to be, so I'll give you an example. I wanted to move out of my shed. So I had to figure out how to move out of my shed. But before I had to figure that out, I had to see, where do I want to be? And when I was moving out of the shed, which obviously, almost knocked that computer off. But before I moved out of the shed, which this is not my shed, like I was just about to say, I had to write that down. Where do I want to be? What do I want my shop to look like? And here's what I wrote down. I want concrete floors. I want air conditioning. I want heating and cooling. And I want actual walls with some pretty good lighting that I can move into. I also want more space than the shed. Even if it's slightly bigger, I just want more space than the shed. And look at what we have. We have actual walls, nice lighting, air conditioning, heating, concrete floors, and I have slightly more workspace than my shed. Great. So that was accomplished. Now, how I got to that point, I had to write that down. I had to figure out, okay, what do I want? How do I get there? And it actually worked out really well, because this opportunity kind of presented itself to me. I didn't really have to go find this one. So this one actually just kind of entered my hands, if you could say it like that, which many things do not happen that way. So please keep that in mind. Most things do not just show up, but I also believe that if you think about it enough and you write it enough and it's just a part of your daily life for long enough, it will kind of enter your hands and just kind of show up. Now, that's a really bad thing to just believe in general, as in, I want a Ferrari and I'm just going to think about a Ferrari and that's it, and I'm just going to think about it. No, you're not. Most likely, you're not going to have a Ferrari just by thinking about it. You're not going to have one of my knives just by thinking about it. Now, I did a lot more than just thinking about the shop. I had to go to different places to sell knives. I had to figure out what knives to sell that would get me enough cash to move into a facility like this and to fill it with the right machines. So there is a lot of effort behind this. Now, a place I am going is, let's talk about the future for a second, just for another example. I want to move to another shop. I want to have the shop where I can hire up to 20 to 30 employees. And that's a pretty big size, because you probably couldn't fit more than like 5 people in here. And even with 5, it'd be a little crowded. So I want to have a place, 20 to 30 employees, concrete floors, actual walls, air conditioning, all the things this shop has, but then just increase the size. I also want office space. I want between 3 and 5 offices plus the actual shop. And that's what I'm looking for. I also want it in Kent County, which this shop is not in Kent County, so I have quite a drive to get here. So I want it closer to home. So that is what I want. And why I go down this path of things I've done, what I have now, and then where I want to be, I give these as examples so I can show you, hey, here's what I did. Maybe you can find something that is helpful for you. So let's recap. Find what you want. Ideally, find exactly what you want. Write it down as if no money, no regulations, no laws, no time restrictions, if nothing is going to limit you ever. Write down exactly what you want. Then look at a realistic perspective. Like, for example, if I said I want a 100 million square foot building as my next shop, that would be very unrealistic to move from my shed to a 100 million square foot building. That is not a realistic growth, because sure, I could move into my 100 million square foot building, but I wouldn't be able to fill that much space going from my shed. So also think of scaling. You want to scale properly. I touched on scaling in a separate video, like a different video before this, and that basically means, I'll just use the same example. If I know I can make 25 knives a day with one person, then that means I should be able to make 50 knives a day with 2 people. So using my CNC machines. If this machine with one person can make 70 knives a day, then having two CNC machines with 2 people should be able to get me 140 knives per day. So you're just scaling. And you want to scale from where you are to where you want to be, because most likely you are not where you want to be yet. And there is a good chance that most of you are not on that path to get to where you want to be. Now, there are a select few that are, and the longer we go down that road, the more and more people drop off. I have an online business mentor that I listen to and take advice from, and fantastic guy, by the way. He says, imagine you have a highway, okay? Your highway has a ton of exits. There are people taking all the exits. They're going to grab a sandwich, they're going to fuel up, they're going to take a nap, they're going to do all these different things. You need to stop taking exits. You need to go from where you are today on the highway to your destination. No exits unless that exit is getting you closer to your final destination. So that's our recap. Let's move into action, because that's one of the most important things. I want to give you some actionable steps I'm taking, some actionable steps I'm going to take, so stair-stepping, and then some actionable examples that you guys can bring into the real world once this video is done. Action. This is the hardest part, because once you've figured out where you want to be, how you're going to get there, then we have action. And action, it can be very tough. And I gotta say, where I want to be, it is very tough to get there, because really nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to be one of the largest knife businesses, if not the largest knife business on the planet. Nobody, I mean, actually I'll take that back. Quite a few knife businesses want to, but they don't really want to. I'll use the example of being a figure skater. We'll just say I want to be a figure skater, but I don't really want to be a figure skater. If I could snap my fingers and be a figure skater and have all the skills associated with that, and I can get out on the ice anytime and do flips and spins and all sorts of things, I would do that. But I don't want to be a figure skater that bad, where I go to the daily lessons, hours and hours and hours a day, constant practice, 7 days a week, just all those things, the diets, the meals that go along with that, investing in the equipment. You see what I mean? A lot of people want to drive a cool car. A lot of people want a knife company, but very few people actually want to do the work behind that. So let's talk actionable steps. So moving to the larger shop that I want, and specifically I want to get there by the end of 2024. I've had this on my plan for about 2 years now to move into a new shop for 2024. And so what are a few actionable things to get there? Well, number one, you got to scale up the amount of knives that are moving out. So for my new shop, I would need more knives to be sold, more knives to be made than what this current shop presents. Because it wouldn't make sense. We'll just say we'll use 100 knives. We'll use hundreds, okay? That's an easy number to work with. If I'm doing 100 knives a month in here, then if I move to a larger shop and that number stays the exact same, 100 knives in there, well, now I have a massive gap where the profit in this shop of 100 knives versus the profit of a 5 office, 1 massive manufacturing spot, 20 employees, all for 100 knives. That is a very large gap. And you got to be aware of the gap, specifically with cash. So what I need to do then is scale. So I need to scale, again, using hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, working my way up to, we'll just say I need 1,000 knives a month to operate at 5 offices, 1 big manufacturing spot, and 20 employees. I need 1,000 knives a month to do that. So I would work up to that. Also, bringing the employee factor, I don't think I would go from a one-man show to 20 people. Just like, bang, right there. That does not make the most sense. At least that's not the smartest thing to do, because you need to scale. You need to adjust accordingly as you move forward, and specifically as I move forward, because I don't go from, oh, I sold 1 knife this month, I'm going to sell 100 next month. It's not how it works usually, and there's a lot of effort that goes behind it. So I want to talk about what's some effort that I'm doing. For example, the daily YouTube videos. That is something that can get me a larger social media presence. More people can understand shed knives, more people can get outdoor resources, more people can basically get value from shed knives the more I post. And by doing a long video like this every day and having some substance to it, because I try not to just turn on the camera and be like, hey guys, I've got my skewer today. And that's it. No. There's got to be substance. There's got to be value. So remember, whatever work you're doing to get you to your end destination, to get you to what you want to finally achieve, the goal of all goals, then you need substance to your efforts. You need genuine results to your efforts. Because checking email all day is great, but does that really get you further? Is that a tangible, like, yes, I checked my email all day and I have tangible results. When I leave my shop, I have tangible results. I have knives that I bring back to get into the mail, to mail to you guys who have placed orders online. You see what I mean? There's substance. I don't come in here and sweep my floors for 10 hours. I don't do that. Now, sure, I would have a very clean shop after 10 hours of sweeping, but that's not substance. That doesn't get you anything. So something for you to write down, something for you to move forward with is substance. Find tangible and actionable items for you to get closer to your goal. And I just kind of want to recap on some things that get shed knives farther. Social media is a big one. The more videos I post, that means more people see my videos or my photos or my text or whatever I'm posting. More people see that, so then more people will follow Shed Knives based on that because they see that I provided value. And then if they follow me long enough and they find that I continue to post value on a regular basis, then they will usually go to shedknives.com and buy. So there's my, we call it the pipeline in business. You have 100,000 people here, it brings down to 10,000, 1,000, and then 100. And you have 100 people that buy out of that 100,000. Now, those are just made up numbers, just for an example, but you get what I mean. Now, what are some other things that I want to do other than just moving to another shop? Because sure, moving to another shop is great, but I've got other thoughts for that. I want better knives. And by getting better machines, I can make better knives. So I'm stair-stepping. I didn't just start in my shed with 3 machines and then was like, yeah, a Tormach 770M would be great. Let me just get one of those. Doesn't really work like that. Takes a while. Only if you let it. Which reminds me of a very unique subject that not a lot of people talk about, and that is the time it takes to do something. For example, if it takes me, we'll just say 2 hours to do one knife, I can do that 2 hours in a row, so then boom, 2 hours, knife is done. 8 a.m., 10 a.m., one knife done. Or it could take me 3 months. I could do 5 minutes every day, 2 minutes every day, 10 minutes here and there, 30 minutes here and there. It's still 2 hours. I just spaced my time out down 3 months or however long I wanted to take. So that's the thing. And same thing with all goals. Same thing with all objectives you want to accomplish. To do all of my social media for the day, all my platforms, all 10 plus platforms, to get all that stuff done for one day, that's 3.5 hours. Now I can do that 3.5 hours in a row, or I can space that out. So people say, oh, it takes forever. Oh, it takes a long time. Oh, it's going to take forever. If you let it. How long are you working? How many hours are you working per day? Are you working 5 hours per day of actual substance, of actual genuine effort? Are you working 5 hours a day? Or are you working 10, 12, 18 hours a day? How many hours a day are you actually working and getting substance, getting tangible steps done towards your big goal? That's a question that a lot of people don't ask themselves. That's something I've certainly been asked, and I've asked myself on a regular basis. Now, let's move on to things that get you to perform better. And then I'm going to leave on that note and let you guys go into the world and use your actionable steps. Use your tangible knowledge that you have. So that is what energy, pretty much, what energy sources do you get? Where do you find your energy? Just all these things. Because to work, we'll just say you're working 18 hours a day. Well, that's 18 of 24 hours a day. That takes a long time. You still have to eat. You still have to sleep. You have to do all these other things to fit into a small period of time. What is that, 6 hours? So you need energy. You need resources to get you to do these actionable steps. For example, if you sleep 2 hours a night, but you work 22 hours a day, I'm sure you're not going to be working 22 hours a day for very long. That will be a very short-lived plan right there. You need things that work in your favor. There's another guy I watch, okay? Says, do you eat like a Ferrari or do you eat like a Ford Taurus? Meaning, Ferraris take premium fuel. They take the best gas. They take the best oil. Everything is the best for a Ferrari, but a Ford Taurus, you can throw just kind of any gas in it, whatever works. Any gas station, it'll work. Kind of takes generic oil, nothing too crazy. So for you to be high performing, everybody wants to drive around a racetrack at 200 miles per hour, but then they're going to put in regular fuel to go 200 miles per hour. They're going to use regular tires. So if you want to be high performing, then you have to do high-performing things. You have to have high-performing tasks. Are you exercising? Are you drinking water? Are you eating healthy? Are you keeping your unnatural sugar and sodium levels low? Because unnatural sugar, that'll kill your body over a long enough period of time. Are you drinking grape soda every day? That will kill your body, or at least limit its capabilities over a long enough period of time. So whatever you're trying to achieve, figure out what resources do you need to actually make that happen. And the best thing I would say that makes you be a high-performing person to get your high-performing task done in an effective manner of time is having a quality team surrounding you. Because you could be drinking grape soda for every meal. You could be eating Fruit Loops for every meal. You may have never stepped foot in a gym ever. You may work 1 minute per day. But guess what? If you have 9 high-functioning people around you that are in your similar age group, maybe for me, it'd be like 20s, mid-20s young men who are high-functioning. If I had 9 high-functioning young men surrounding me, then, and we'll just say I had all these bad habits like grape soda, working 1 minute a day, never seen a gym, all those things. If I have 9 high-functioning guys around me, then I'm gonna just want to step up and be better because I have these other 9 guys getting all sorts of results, and I'm the odd man out. I don't want to be the odd man out. And it works for most people because our ancestors used to live in like tribes. They used to live in some places they call them clans, different groups, different tribes really of people around the planet. And these tribes would have to support each other. If, as a young man, if there was a young group of men going out hunting and they all are going to get the deer, they're all going to get the antelope, whatever animal it is, and you don't have the physical strength to do that, you will want to step up so you can be part of that group of admired hunters. So you can go get the antelope, you can go get the deer, you can go get the bison. So that is how our ancestors lived. We had tribes, we had different groups of people, small communities that worked together, and there was a community aspect. And when you're working on all of these fantastic things by yourself, it can be very hard. And I'll be honest, I work on most of this stuff by myself. And actually, all the work is really by me. Sure, I have a little help here and there, but the real tangible stuff is primarily done by me, which can be hard at times. But that's why you need outside resources, other positive energy sources to get you fueled up, to get you going. And that's something a lot of people miss. A lot of people don't talk about. They talk about where do you want to be, how do you think you're going to get there, what actions do you need to do to get there, but they don't talk about actually the energy behind that. So let me do a little recap here so that way you can leave with tangible steps to working towards what you want to do, what you want to be, and all these other great things. So number 1, get a pen and paper, by the way. Number 1 is, where do you want to be? Just write that down, figure that out. It'll take a little bit of time if you let it, but just genuinely, where do you want to be? Number 2, then you need to figure out how you're going to get there. A few ways to do that. You can either start at your goal and work back to your current situation, or you can work to where you are today and work up to where you want to be. I recommend doing both, because if there's a visible difference between those two plans, something is wrong. But if those two, working backwards and then working forwards in your planning, if those are very identical, then you know you have the right things going on. And then once you figure out how to actually get to where you want to be, then it's the action. And you need to set a schedule for that action. What time are you waking up? When are you eating breakfast? When are you eating lunch? When are you eating dinner? When are you going to exercise? Where is your gym? How far away is it? Is it at your house? Is it 45 minutes away? All these other things you have to figure out, okay? You need to allot time to these different tasks, okay? And you need to be very specific. When I write my daily agendas, when I write my schedules, they're very specific down to the minute. 4 a.m., wake up. 4:05, read, pray, write. Then 4:15, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on and on, okay? Now, then here's the hard part. Now we have our plan and our schedule and all these other things. You need to do the action. You need to do the action. And I want to talk about the action again for a second, okay? With action, most people are just too lazy to do the action. The majority of people on the planet are very capable of doing the action. They just don't, they either don't have a big enough why, or they just don't have a good enough reason. They just, it's not their purpose. It's not their thing. And they must have picked the wrong goal to accomplish because it's not exciting enough. And then the other side of it is they don't have enough positive energy keeping them going. Their energy resources are not strong enough because maybe they have the right goal, maybe they have the right steps, maybe they have the right action items and schedule, but their energy sources are terrible. So how are they going to make that happen with the wrong energy sources? And that's something I've had to figure out. I'm still working it out on finding the right positive energy sources to get you to be a high functioning person and to get you to accomplish your goals. Because let's be honest, not everybody wants to run the world. Not everybody wants to be the best on the planet. Some people have goals that seem pretty normal, like maybe they just want to work, we'll say, a construction job for the rest of their life. Well, great. If that's your goal, then make that goal happen. Again, back to step number one, where do you want to be with no limitations ever? And a limitation could be who's around you. People may say, oh, you want to work construction? Oh, no one successful ever works construction. Well, if working construction to you is successful, then great, you are successful because you are doing what you want to do, and that is truly where you want to be. Now, if you are working construction, again, using this example, but you don't want to be there, that is not your life path, that is not where you want to be, that is not your just internal just pattern, that's not what you want to be, then you need to move. You need to do something else. You cannot stay there then if that's going to go against who you are as a person. If it's who you are as a person and you're fine with that and you're okay with that, perfect. More power to you, because that's what it is. Not everyone can run a knife company, and that's okay. But if that's what you want to do, then great. Make that happen. So once we have the actual plan, going back, we have the plan, we have our actionable items. Then the last thing is our resources. What positive energy resources do we have around us? Do we have a proper good night's rest? Do we have good food intake? Are we drinking enough water? Are we getting the right enough calories, etc., 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 all these other things. Okay, so figure that out. Now, if you want to be a part of the Shed Knives movement, and if you think you have what it takes, if you are a high-performing individual and you want to be a part of this and help grow it, then send me an email, sales@shedknives.com. I'll put it in the description for you. So you can go send me an email if you think you have what it takes. The email should be very short. All I need is a general introduction. Hi, my name is Jack Billings. I do blah, 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 blah. Just tell me a little bit about yourself and then give me bullet point reasons on why you think you would be good for Shed Knives. Just things that you think I should know. Like, I do CAD design. I have been marketing for knife companies for the past 5 years. I know all the TikTok metrics, so I can get your TikTok account to be 100,000 followers. But whatever it is, I don't care. Whatever you think I should know, put it in those bullet points and then send me the email so we can move from there. And I get a lot of emails, so if I don't respond right away, don't take it personally, because when you want to be high functioning, you have a lot of stuff to do. You have a lot of substance to conquer. You have a lot of things to do that are positive to your life path. So I hope you guys like this video. If you do, let me know. And maybe you can drop down some things you want to do. You don't have to. I understand some goals can be rather personal, so if you don't want to share, no problem. But if you feel inclined to share, because maybe someone may find that interesting or someone may find it relatable, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. That way we can continue the discussion. Also, I am pounding out knives here in the shop. There are all sorts of knives getting done. There's all sorts of knives being mailed. Once again, I work in priority order, so getting these out as fast as possible, but making quality blades. And yes, so once the 2024 models get into production, I'll start showing more of that. Now, I want to get outside and show off more knives, but the 2023s, I'm on the last batch. I have Conquest, Sheepsfoots, Tuataras, US Tontos, and the Atlas. The Atlas is left. So that's what I have. I have a few of each. And Yeah, so it doesn't make sense to go do all of this like knife stuff. Hey, check this knife out. Hey, blah, blah, blah. To do all of this knife marketing, you could say, when they'll be sold out in like 2 weeks. So it just doesn't make sense. So I'm in here doing orders, doing knives, getting that in the meantime. So that way I can direct all my energy to the 24s to then get them out. And that way we can move forward into just more exciting stuff, because having this slanted roof in the background of every video may get a little old. It's getting a little old for me, but that's okay, because there's a lot of great things being done, my friends. And very, very last thing, and maybe you guys can take a little hint on this for action items. I've decided, I've said this once, but just in case you guys missed it, I have decided to take a pause from some of my social media. That way I can get the 2023 models done, finished, in the mail, in your hands as soon as possible, because I don't need to drag that out any longer than it's already taken with the whole heat treat situation. So I am dedicating as much energy as possible to these knives every single day. I've not taken a day off from knife production in, gosh, I don't even know how long now. And I'm not going to stop until I get the knives out. Because like I said, 2024s need to come in ASAP. And then I need to get those out to you guys so that way I can show them off. So very exciting times. There's a lot of knife making. Oh my goodness, it's a lot of knife making. But that's okay because I signed up for this stuff. So I'll show you one that's being worked on now. It's a Tuatara in OD Green G10. So this is the current state of the scales. Very cool. These are being ground and shaped and mounted and all the rest of that process. So very nice. I am definitely a fan of this beautiful hollow grind. Very nice. And it's thick. It's a thick blade. Super cool. So anyways, if you guys like this video, if you found value in it, go ahead and hit the like. If you know someone else who may find value in this, go ahead and hit the share. That way we can continue to better ourselves and each other by sharing information we value. And last thing, my friends, if you like knives, go check out shedknives.com so you can grab your 2023 model before they are all sold out. Okay? Because we're getting very close. Anyways, my name's Jack. I make knives. Where's my knife? I make knives, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.